Hello, sisters. As we move into the second year of Alpha Delta Kappa's International Biennium, we continue evolving together. Soon, our newest regional leaders will be installed at their respective conferences. These leaders will work closely with the International Executive Board to accomplish the goals in our adopted 2026-2028 strategic plan. Tonight, we introduce you to these 7 regional teams. Each leader will be introduced by a member or members of IEB, and then a quote on leadership will be presented to them. Participants received these quotes previously, but they do not know which quote they will receive in their spotlight. In a conversational format, each will be encouraged to share what the quote means to her. There is no right or wrong response. It is an opportunity to voice ideas and begin understanding and accepting different viewpoints of team members. Regions will be introduced in random order. IEB members will serve as timekeepers and will end the session within 8 minutes and then introduce the next region. So let's welcome IEB members Anne Marie Brown and Marianne Engelhart, who will introduce the Southwest region and share their quote.
I think we're all here that we should be here now. So thank you very much. And you notice we've all we're spotlighted and unmuted so we can have the conversation. Thank you, Conway, for those kind words and the overview of what's going to happen tonight. I would like to, it is my pleasure to introduce the 26-28 Southwest Regional President, Nancy Martinez. You want to give a wave? There you are. Thanks, Nancy. The regional co-presidents-elect, Susan O'Connell and Tina Young. Okay, thank you. And lastly, we have our regional team. We have our regional vice president for membership, Betty Jo Evers. Okay, the Southwest quote this evening is, "Thriving is a moment. Evolving is a commitment." It's from the business report of this year in February. Thriving is a moment. Evolving is a commitment. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'd like, if you don't mind, I'd like to start first. I really think as a leader, this is a very important quote. I think this quote to me means that we can all thrive again in the moment. Things can happen and we can be successful. But I think in order to evolve, it means a commitment to change. And I think that's something that is not as easy as, as maybe just working on something for one particular time. To be willing to change means a change in mindset and a change in kind of the way you approach things. But what I am very thankful for is the fact that I think all of our sisters in the Southwest and even in all the other regions, I think we are committed to evolving. It is, again, it's not necessarily the easiest thing, but I think that with the support that we have from, the International Executive Board and from headquarters, I do think that we are evolving, and it goes well, of course, with our International President's theme of, evolving together. So I just think that it's quite a commitment on the part of the sisters, but I think that our sisters really are committed to that evolving and changing.
Sure.
Oh, and Tina,
Are you going to go ahead, Betty Jo?
No, go ahead. All right. I was going to say this, that evolving is a process. It never ends. That's the reason our logo is open at the bottom, our international logo. And it is slow, it is painstaking, it's continuous change, but it's over time. And if our members know why, they'll go along with it. If our members do not know why, and that is an education piece on all of our parts, but then frustration sets in, and then apathy, and then we're another whole ball game. But if we look at the total organization, not just what good for my chapter, my SVN, our region, but for our entire organization, then we evolve. Okay, it's your turn, Nancy.
That's very good.
stepped on
I
it.
love that, Betty Jo. I was going to say, with Tina, I totally agree with her. And my way of evolving and how I love how Alpha Delta Kappa is evolving is doing co-state presidents. I have two co-regional president-elects. The Northwest also has co-regional president-elects. And I think we will all learn from that. There may be some bumps along the way, but I think we'll be okay. Tina and Carol and Penny have all experienced being co's because Tina and Karen were co's for Hawaii. But it's kind of like there was a thriving moment of how do we get sisters to step up? And then came the evolving of the commitment to, well, I'll do it if she'll do it. And it's kind of, that's part of what we do.
Well, we kind of support each other. We just support each other.
Well, yeah.
I
We
mean,
do totally. And I was so excited to hear that Susan and Tina wanted to be my co-RPEs that it just makes me smile all the time. And then to have you there with us, Betty Jo, that's also another big thing. But I think.
But wait a minute. Tina and Susan aren't just ours. They belong to the organization.
Oh yeah, they belong to the organization. I like calling them ours just because I'll share them.
That's possessive. That's
Yeah, I'll share them. But I think we're gonna be evolving. We're gonna come up with some ideas. We'll put together a toolbox or something to show how whatever you're doing works, and we can go from there. Susan?
And speaking about the organization, you've noticed that we don't have the secret handshake anymore. Yeah, and it kind of pointed to, we're such an exclusive society here. We got to have the secret handshake. But I think we're moving towards more inclusivity, diversity, so that we want to welcome as many of our educators as possible, and that evolving is going to be really important. And I must congratulate headquarters. I know you're trying really hard to make things simpler. The forms have gotten less, but you can still work on that.
Yes.
That's evolving. It's never ending.
Do another form.
Never ending.
Yeah. So anyway, but I do appreciate all the work that everyone is doing to make things better for our organization and for our sisterhood.
Yeah.
And to follow up on Betty Jo's thing about you are all like just mine with the whole organization of Alpha Delta Kappa, I totally agree with that because I think all 7 regions can learn from each other.
Amen.
And I think we're going to see a lot more of that this year, a lot more of trading ideas, suggestions, etc. And to me, that means the world. We're all teachers in some sense. We've all been taught. And as a teacher, for your class to get what they need to evolve from point A to point B. And sometimes that means the kids teaching that math lesson that for some reason doesn't, goes over everybody's head. But I would love to know what the secret handshake is and what the secret password was. So maybe sometime down the road you can.
I'll let you know.
Okay. At one of our meetings, Betty Jo, I want you to show us what the handshake was.
I did a fraternity ed one time on that because my chapter, we were always laughing about it, and they said we don't know that inside joke.
Yeah. So And our whatever you call it is our hugs, our sisterhood. We've evolved from handshakes and passwords to sisterhood and hugs and seeing everybody again. So I'm excited about that.
Yes.
You know, learning from each other starting tonight,
Uh,
when we hear from each one of the regions. I'm
Unfortunately,
excited to listen.
unfortunately, this has been a delightful conversation and a great way to kick off our spotlight this evening. But our time is up. And so I
Oh,
want to thank each and every one of you. Your comments were just wonderful. But now we're going to move on to the Northeast region. So please, let's welcome that group along with Mary I and Sue Wade. Thank you.
Okay, we're all here. Thank you, Anne Marie and Mary Ann. Mary and I are so happy to introduce the Northeast team for the 2026-2028 biennium. And we have our regional president, Gina Elise Allen, and Jen Robitaille, our regional president-elect, and Judy Gilberti, the regional vice president for membership. Please share your thoughts about this quote. Having courage in uncertain times as a leader is less about grand gestures and more about consistent daily actions, writes Lorraine Quay, who emphasizes that true courage is reflected in your willingness to make timely decisions amid ambiguity, prioritize values over convenience, and invite open dialogue, even when it means facing discomfort.
If ever there was a time that that quote was apropos, was if you were a leader during COVID, which I was. Talk about uncertain times and, having to do things. You were dealing with something on a large scale that you did not know. Everything changed on a dime. Suddenly, from going to in-person meetings, you were scrambling for ways to keep in touch with your members. I didn't even know what Zoom was. And then suddenly, I was state president at the time, at the end when COVID just came in full steam, and then for the next year, because I was president 2 bienniums. And as a leader, you had to learn new things and new ways and try to figure out how you were going to dispense all of this information when half the time you weren't sure what was going on. And I think this was from international all the way down to chapters. And you're trying to be the glue that holds everything together in your particular area. And it was not easy. And it was not necessarily comfortable, but I will tell you, it definitely was a learning experience, if nothing else. And you had to have a lot of courage to keep on going during that time, because it was hard. And giving encouragement to everyone around you was important, because a lot of people just didn't know how they were going to keep everything together, how they were going to serve Alpha Delta Kappa and serve their members, whether they were a chapter president, whether they were state president, whether you were international president, whether you were regional. It was not president at that time. It was, but I think that quote really hits home for anybody who led during COVID.
I agree, Gina. I think we all felt that way, right? Like it brings up, that quote brings up for us that uncertain time, right? We all felt COVID and know what that felt like. I think in all uncertain times, folks look to leaders, right? They want to know what's happening next, or what is the plan. And so the first part of that quote talks about it's less about the grand gestures and more about that consistent daily actions. And so as folks look to leaders and look to us as regional leaders and look to our IEB and our international officers, we are the leaders of Alpha Delta Kappa. So they're looking to us in those times. And so if we can make small steps and be consistent in those small steps, I think it brings the angst down for folks during that time. And they know that we can work together to get through any sort of uncertainty. And as long as we're clear in our communication about why things are happening, I think we heard that in our last speakers about being clear in our expectations and why we're doing things, and giving that transparency to folks really will help ease that uncertain times. And so we want to think about those consistent daily actions.
The unique thing about the COVID journey was that everyone went through it at the same time. Everyone had a different experience with it. And I think for many of us in Alpha Delta Kappa, we did reach out to leaders, and those leaders were very gracious because they were able to help us throughout that journey. We made mistakes along the way, and that was a learning process for everyone. Everyone kind of kept grounded in their thoughts and in their projects, and they were able to move forward, and they were able to change things up, evolving then as we are now. And look at where we've come. We've come to a great place. We're so smart now with Zoom. We're so smart with unique technology pieces, and I think we have that piece of a little bit of strength from everyone, our leaders and the sisters that we mentor, coming together to make a great organization.
I think that it
I'm
brought,
sorry. Go ahead, Gina.
I think it brought out in a, in an uncertain time, the best of everybody,
Yes.
because they really worked. And I know that Judy was international president at least part through that, and with the infinite possibilities. And I think that everybody worked to find those infinite possibilities to make it work. And as leaders, we really had to reach out and, compliment and stand there for them and help them and encourage them when they weren't sure, so that they could pass it down to their leaders and all the way down. And I think it made us all better in our own way, whether you were a leader or you were just a member. I think it just gave us the courage to expand our thoughts and what we believed, and just get better.
I think we say in Alpha Delta Kappa all the time, you're never in this alone, right? We always do work together. We always support one another, whether it's professionally or personally, we are all in it together. And so when we talk about our co-offices, again, we're saying we're not in this alone.
Well, thank you all for your heartfelt, thoughtful responses. And now we're going to hear from IEB member Terry Payton, who will share and introduce the new leaders from the Gulf region and tell us the quote that they will be responding. Thank you again.
Yay. Okay.
We're
It is
kind of in the
definitely,
dark. I'm sorry.
okay, you're here. It's definitely my pleasure to introduce my Gulf sisters who are going to be serving on our regional leadership team. Regional President Barbara Steinbach, Regional President-elect Elizabeth Liz Lilly, and Regional Vice President for Membership Caroline Gilmore. And our quote is from Gerald R. Ford.
Oh.
Nothing in life is more important than the ability to communicate effectively. What are y'all's thoughts? Let's hear it.
Oh, that's the key. That's the key to everything that we do.
Exactly.
That is the most important thing with regards is what we did in our classrooms, when we work with our coworkers, when we work with each other in Alpha Delta Kappa. It's so important that we have good communication skills. And it's not just speaking, it's also listening. And that's a very active part of the communication aspect. And that's something that we need to be able to do very well when we're working with each other, but also when we're looking at those new sisters that are coming into our organization, is to really hear and see what they have to think, how they feel, because we want to make sure that they feel included and get the most out of their membership.
Yeah, Barbara, I love the way you said listening, not just hearing, but listening to what our members and what each other have to say. And that communication even goes further with not just what you communicate, but how you communicate and all the various methods of communication and trying to reach everybody with their own comfort level. Because we have ladies who are in their hundreds and we have ladies who are in their 20s, and we all communicate in different ways. So, having various methods of communication as well.
Liz, and I think we all smiled when we got this quote because we've already been communicating today, and it's
Yes.
just not speaking and listening, it's also writing. And, we communicate already well as a board, and I think we've communicated with our states as well. And, if you're not communicating, you're not sharing the mission of Alpha Delta Kappa. And that's most
That's right.
important for us to do. It just goes hand in hand in all the committees and boards that we serve on. So this is
That's part of the strategic plan is that the key is getting the communication out. And just like has been stated in the other groups, is that it's part of our mission. And communication can be many different ways. And one of the things that we need to look at also is some people are very good, they have different skills of communication, and we have to be able to read those. Some people speak well, some people write well, some people are able to communicate through their art. Maybe it's through emotions, maybe it is through other aspects. I mean, at this point in time, we have so many things with technology to assist us, but the key is to get our message out so that we're unified, we can work as a team, and that we're all on the same page. And that's the beauty of Alpha Delta Kappa is because that's what we do, regardless of where we are or where we're from, like right here in the piney, rainy, no power woods of Louisiana. We still pursue, we can still move forward. And that's a gift. That's a gift. And we have to recognize those gifts in all of our sisters.
Exactly. And we have to be timely with our communication. We have to make sure when something comes up that we're getting the word out and in multiple ways. And then when somebody is communicating with us, whether it's through a text message, a phone call, an email, or a cry for help of some kind, that we are addressing it and addressing it quickly. Even if we don't have the answer, just being that point of contact and say, hey, I don't know, but I'm going to find out.
I tell you, Liz, following you as state president in Florida, I learned a lot of communication skills. And if you're sending out an email, she texts us and tell you to go check your email right away. So it'd make you hurry to your computer, and her Zoom and technology skills, she was building ideas and she was sharing her goals and building relationships. And I think that's really what we've done in the Gulf, and that's what we've done in Florida. So we've communicated well down here.
I would agree. We're very much a connected group of sisters. I think that's one of the things that we've always taken pride in, that regardless of where we're in, East or West Louisiana or all the way down to the Gulf or Puerto Rico, and let's not forget about our Jamaica sisters. It's a matter of keeping in touch with everyone. And the other thing is not just timeliness, but also being able to be succinct and concise. Time is precious for all of our sisters. People are so busy, working hard. And so we need to be able to communicate in a means to get our message across, but at the same time, in a manner that, well, it just saves people time and we can move forward. And I think that's really, really important. And that may be hard for some of us. Some of us tend to be wordy or we talk too much. But it's definitely something that communication is the key to our entire mission of bringing in new members, retaining our sisters. We really need to be able to retain those sisters that we're losing. And that's a key thing, on both ends of the spectrum. That's so important. So if y'all have any ideas of how to increase and to make our communication systems better, that would be helpful. I know Connect is one of those things that we're working on and we're growing on. I got my new Kappan today in the mail, so I was so excited to see that and read it. So we have evolved over time how we communicate with each other, and I really think that's key too. Don't you, ladies?
Oh, yes.
Yes, I
sure.
do.
Right.
Y'all made some great points, and I love the fact that y'all are going to use different mediums and make it shorter. I'm all about fewer words.
I know,
Okay,
Derek.
so as y'all know me well enough to know that.
We do.
Okay, thank you so
See you
much.
in NOLA. See you
I
in
know,
NOLA.
I can't wait. Okay,
Night.
next we have our Northwest region, and Kathy Beatty from IEB is going to introduce their team. Kathy?
There we are. All right. Welcome, Northwest Region Sisters. It's great to see all of you, and we're glad you could be with us tonight. Your quote for this evening is from Business Report in February 2026, and the article was "Evolve is the Word." The quote is, "Evolution always also requires shared understanding. If teams don't see how their work connects to the whole, change feels non-doing. When people understand, they can help improve it." And let me back up and introduce Nancy Dreydouble, who's the regional president. Wave, there you go. We have co-regional presidents-elect. We have Carol Fujioka and Penny Huck. And then we have the regional vice president for membership, Chris Hines. Who wants to start us off?
Nobody.
Terrible. Don't do the nose thing. Like, let's go ahead. Come on, President. Go ahead.
Would you read the quote?
Oh, sure. Evolution also requires shared understanding. If teams don't see how their work connects to the whole, change feels non-doing. When people understand, they can help improve it.
So my thought is, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Carol.
No, you go ahead, Penny.
Well, I was just going to say, understanding what each other is thinking is terribly important. And sometimes we all get a little focused on our own ideas. And let's see, I think it was Northeast that talked about communication. And that is so important in understanding each other's ideas, so that we can move forward together and not fragmented.
Well, and we're always improving, we're always, the other group was talking about listening too, you got to listen to be able to hear what people's needs are to improve. And if that doesn't happen, then you're going nowhere. But the Northwest has been really good with that, with all the conferences, the conventions I've been to lately. It's just been amazing watching what people can pull together at the last minute, or the way they go, well, let's try this instead, and it's just amazing how that has happened, and just watching the growth and the cooperation, so it's working right now, at least from what I've been seeing. So.
Well, and I think we have to constantly have in our mind that we have to continue to evolve. As people talked about COVID and how we conduct business in so many realms is different because things evolved and changed and to meet needs, and we don't know what's coming in the future. So we kind of have to always have that in the back of our mind of how are we going to evolve? How are we going to use this? How are we going to make this work for our organization? We do that in our classrooms.
Right.
That constant evolving and changing. Otherwise, you're just kind of stagnant, and that then things that are stagnant just die off.
Yeah, a big one's the computers, because we have so many sisters that are very comfortable, but some that aren't, or some that are like me, that are going, help, I don't don't understand this. I'd be willing to ask somebody for help, but that's a biggie too, with just the way technology has been changing and evolving and learning all these different programs. It's you always got to constantly up, what's next,
I think something that I think about has been brought up in some of the other regions as well, and that's communication. And we really can't evolve if we don't communicate with each other, because we do have to understand, what is that change about? Why do we need to evolve? What we're doing is great. Yeah. But how can we evolve to make us even better? So I think that communication key is super important.
Yeah. Well, and our chapters change and our state boards change. And Nancy, I think you said something about meeting the needs. When we change people, we have to change sometimes what we do and how we do things. And I know just the working with Alpha Delta Kappa, I think has made me accept change better just in my personal life. We talk about how my husband and I talk about how this town just never wants to change because we can't pass things. And I feel like I am becoming a lot more flexible. And I really think a lot of that is the training and stuff I've had in Alpha Delta Kappa. And I love Conway's open circle because we don't know where we're going to be at the end of this biennium.
Yeah, I kind of want to piggyback on Penny a little bit, because this is certainly happening in our state, in that, yes, we have new leadership in our state. And that means we have new leadership in our districts, and we have new leadership in our chapters. And for every level, there needs to be evolving, but some people are kind of reluctant to do that. So we do have to encourage them and, share some ideas with them. Don't tell them that it's going to work for them. Share some ideas with them. What's going to work for your chapter? What's going to work for your district? Because they're all different on this side of the state. So that's where the listening comes in, to understanding and enabling the evolving to take place.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Penny had a key word, flexibility, being willing to change, being flexible. The listening is a key word. All that is all so important. And yeah.
And working together.
Yes.
And like Carol said, don't just tell, because we've all said, don't tell me what to do, because I'll do the opposite.
Yes.
Just because, dig my heels in. But, working together, listening, and maybe, like we've said with the technology piece, if that's the problem, or if that's the frightening part of it, because I know with lots of people that is a frightening part of it. Well, come on over to my house and let's get together and let's do this together, and those kinds of things, so that you can encourage and find out what the needs are.
Yep.
Well, you guys sound like a great team, that you're already communicating and working together and evolving, and you're going to help the Northwest move forward, as well as our organization. Thank you for your thoughts, and thank you for sharing. We are going to next move to Leslie Coink, and she will be working with the South Central leaders.
I think we can all say the insight and the discussion has been just amazing. But it is my honor to introduce the South Central Region Leadership Team to our Alpha Delta Kappa sisters. Regional President, Betsy Ruckman. Wave. Good. Our Regional President-elect, Nancy Carr. And our Regional Vice President for Membership, Shelley Couch. The South Central's team quote is from John Gordon's Daily Positive Affirmations, focused on cultivating a mindset of positivity and resilience. So the quote states, "Today, decide to be that person who instills a positive belief in someone who needs to hear your encouraging words. Believe in others more than they believe in themselves." What does this quote mean to you and your team?
Well, I would not be here in this position today if somebody hadn't had belief in me and I guess convinced me that I had the ability and the talent to move on in Alpha Delta Kappa. I had just finished being chapter president, and Texas was in need of a president of the Council of Chapter Presidents. And I didn't have any intention of doing that. I didn't even know what it was. And some of my chapter members said, well, you can do that. Why don't you do that? Here, let me help you fill out the application. So I did, and that was the beginning. And it was just because somebody had thought that I would be able to handle the situation, but probably wouldn't do it without a little push. So
I agree with you, Betsy. I can remember at a South Central meeting, I believe it was in Little Rock, someone came up to Nancy Carr and myself and said, so when are you girls going to offer to be state officers? And it's like, me? And it wasn't until then it started clicking that you want me? And I could be qualified. And again, those positive words can just mean so much, and it can just turn things around.
And as teachers, I mean, we go to the classroom, we might be the only positive force in that classroom. And that's what we are in our chapters. That's what we are at the state level. And that's what we are going to be at our regional level too. But I mean, that's true. Shelley and I don't know what we would have done without somebody pushing us or saying, you would be okay. You have the know-how to get up there and be that leader and everything. And I know that we looked at each other and kind of panicked in a way, but we've come a long way.
Right.
And I think because of positiveness that we have had throughout our boards and the positivity that we have throughout the state of Texas and all around, even the region, we've gotten to know so many people in our own region that are just amazing. And I don't think the word negativity even exists from where I think we've all stood. So it's just been wonderful. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think you just always have to remember to acknowledge when somebody has done something well. Just send them a little note, call them, text them, and say, I really enjoyed what you did, or I really enjoyed the session that you had. That goes a long way.
Yeah, the notes I've gotten from past presidents about encouragement.
Right.
I mean, there were times when I thought, oh my gosh, what am I doing? And of course, they would just send me a Snickers bar or give me like, you're doing a good job, Nancy. So that's what we need to do also for each other as we go through, because we're all going through different times, hard times with chapters and trying to get leaders to step up. But it's the encouraging process that really draws us to Alpha Delta Kappa.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I think you hit that right on the head that, we need to be the ones now that are encouraging others to step up to the plate, whether it's in our own chapters or in our, our state or in our region, that those positive words can just turn things around and just really make a big difference.
It helps to build your team when you're looking for committee chairmen and people to help you decorate for a program or something. It really helps if you've built those encouraging relationships along the way too, just to be the positive reinforcement, just that we've used in a classroom for all these years.
Well,
it goes a long way.
And think of all the internationals that we've gone to. Just the idea of people just around you, just surrounding yourself with positive people has just uplifted each one of us. I know.
It really has. Yeah.
Well, it inspires confidence in you and inspires confidence in others. And it just, that motivation thing, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, have
And
you
again,
thought? Oh, I'm sorry. Go on,
Yeah.
Nancy.
No, go ahead.
I was just thinking too, what are your thoughts on, you are the leaders for the next 2 years, but how can you, using this positive influence, work to build the future leaders of your region or in Alpha Delta Kappa internationally?
Well, it's just by acknowledging and appreciating the good work that all of the sisters do. I know we've traveled around the team, the existing team. The three of us have been going to all of the SPN conventions, and you see some really good ideas and good things happening, and you just need to convey that to the person so they feel appreciated and they're looking forward to doing more that way.
Well, I can't thank y'all enough as a team. And I'm looking forward to working with your leadership team, but it's time to transfer our transfer to our Southeast region, and our IEB members, Julie Kidd and Ginger Green, will introduce the next team. Thank you, ladies.
Okay, I think we're all here. Good evening, ladies. Thank you very much for being here. It is my pleasure to introduce to you the leadership team for the Southeast region. Our Vice President for Membership is Gina Richardson. Our President-elect, Laura Baton. And Southeast Region President, Julie Brown. At this time, Julie Kidd will give the quote.
Yes, we have two Julies here. Okay. Our quote is, "Unity is strength. When there is teamwork and collaboration, wonderful things can be achieved." Maddie Stefanet. Who would like to begin?
Well, I am so excited we got this quote because I was reading them and that was one of my favorites. I like them all, but this one to me sums up kind of why we're all here, is because Alpha Delta Kappa brings us together because of what we do, like our purposes, our vision. We're doing good work. We're really making an impact. And sometimes we get maybe caught up in the everyday and I've got to answer 100 emails today, but our impact is so much bigger than that. Laura's like, yeah, a lot of emails, but we're making a difference, and that can pull us all together. So even when we look at things from different viewpoints, we're all working toward the same goal, and that's the beauty of our organization. We're not bothering with the other stuff. We're focusing on what we want to do, altruism, and we're really focusing on that. What do you all think, Laura and Gina?
I agree exactly with what you're saying. And this is one of my favorite quotes too. So it's good that we're kind of going toward last. But we talk about being a team all the time. And we've already gotten together to talk about some plans. And I've handed some things off to Gina, and we're meeting the new people. And it's that collaboration. It's not just being a leader, because we're all leaders. And, when we look at Alpha Delta Kappa, one of the blessings of Alpha Delta Kappa is that we're all in this together. And so, titles are wonderful, but in a sense, we are all sisters. And so we work together, we succeed together, we are there for each other. And that's one of the things that I can't think of another organization that you can honestly say that about. Okay, Gina, take it away, girl.
All right. It's a pleasure to be here tonight and to be with my other sisters. And unity is important. And I love the way we always work together. No matter what comes up, we're together. And it's the thing that we can share with others, that, they're never alone. Like when we step into a new position, or whether it's a new job or whatever, we know in Alpha Delta Kappa, there's someone there that's going to support me. And that means everything to me.
And so many of us have, I mean, we all have our own strengths. And like, you know, I've already told Gina, I'm going to be looking toward her to help out with the collegiate clubs because she's, you know, gotten Kentucky up. And Julie and I have worked together as state presidents and, you know, last biennium. So it really is, you know, a very cohesive group of ladies.
Yeah, we already have a lot of experiences together. You know, Laura and I was even thinking back. Do you remember the first time we met at one, well,
Southeast region.
Yeah, the Southeast region meeting. We didn't know each other. We were coming in as state presidents. We were like the deer in the headlights. And they put us at a table and they said, okay, you're a group. And our mentor, Weta Sue, gave us our name right at that table. And we were like, oh, okay, this is really happening now, you know. So we've been through, and then COVID happened. So the group earlier talked about that. It's like, well, we weren't expecting that, but the unity, we all pulled it through. We figured it out, and so whatever came our way, you know, we were doing it together. And then Gina and I are from the same state, so we've done well. We were all that together, so we really have a good history. So yeah, we know each other, so we can bounce off each other. We don't have to, you know, get to know each other because we're already there. And thinking about all the other sisters in our region, I was looking at the list of who all's here tonight, and I'm looking down there getting kind of emotional of all the mentors and all the sisters that have really helped all three of us over the years. And they're here tonight, so I want to thank you all for joining and hanging in with us to see us and offering your support as we move forward, because we are not doing anything by ourselves, and we want everyone to work together. And whatever ideas or suggestions, you all know I'm up for a change. I'm up for making new things and trying things out, and if they don't work, we'll figure it out. But I think we can all do that together. So I'm excited to work with two sisters that I already have great relationships with, and we can move into this biennium ready to go. Actually, we are ready to go. We've got things. Well, you all know me. I've got things ready to go. Like, let's start today.
We're already at the printer.
We're already at the printer. That's right. So,
and as you know, as Gina said, there really is strength in unity. And even though sometimes, you know, another group was talking about change is hard, and it's hard sometimes, you know, to do things in a different way. But one thing that you've got to remember is that the sisters always come first, and we're always thinking about what's the best thing for everybody, getting everybody's opinions and voices. And so, you know, that old saying, you know, united we stand, divided we fall, and that's the beauty of having a friendship with these other two ladies.
Exactly. So thanks for coming together to embrace this quote. I really enjoyed listening to your responses as well as the earlier ones. But now it's time to turn things over to North Central and IEB member Roberta Casaban.
It is with great pleasure that I introduce the leadership team for the North Central region. The North Central region Vice President for Membership is Jenny Johnson. Jenny, please wave. The North Central President-elect is Lisa Broski. Lisa. And the North Central region President is Valerie Johnson. So our quote is by a well-known author, anonymous. A good mentor teaches you how to think, not what to think. So what do you think about that?
Well, I think that that's something that all four of us probably used in our classrooms. I don't need kids to just regurgitate things to me. What I needed was for them to develop their their brains, develop their brains so that they could do the thinking on their own, do problem solving. And that's, yeah, I totally agree.
I was so glad when Alpha Delta Kappa looked at with onboarding new members that each needed a mentor in addition to their sponsor, because I think mentors are so important in everything that we do. And I like that the presentation that we've been doing at the conventions talks about reciprocal mentorship, because I think that too is really important, to be able to listen to each other and to learn from each other.
Yeah.
You know, I appreciate what you're saying there, Val, because I think of mentorship is probably the reason we're all here. We've heard other regions talk about this. I think it's a perfect quote to kind of wrap up the last region, to kind of do a huge thank you to all the women that have supported us along the way and have encouraged us into these positions. And I also was thinking about you, Jenny, when you were referring to the classroom. I'm still an active educator. I work with teachers every day as a mentor. And something we think about a lot is in this day and age of technology, social media, just all the things that are instantaneous kind of products. I think that was part of our quote, products. The what to think is the product, that we really need to help our children and ourselves to remember it's really about the process. I know we've heard another group talk about that as well. It's ongoing, it's ever changing, it's in the moment, it's problem solving. And there may not be just one right answer to that problem. It's if we work together and collaborate, and I know that's a strength of this team, that we can really mentor others along that road too.
Mm-hmm. And you know, I appreciate mentors that will ask me a question that makes me get to thinking about something. I mean, today, this is short, brief, I hope, but today, Micah and the Iowa president and I got together to work on North Central Regional luncheon centerpieces. And, you know, they're all three of us were saying, well, how would it look if we did this? And, you know, there were so many ideas flowing after people started asking questions. And I think a good mentor will guide a person that way so that you can do that reasoning. And I know on our weekly meetings, when Val and Ann and I have met, and soon Lisa, when we three meet, we ask questions and we bat around ideas. And then, you know, I look to Ann Ainsley because she has had a lot of experience. She's my mentor. And after riding with Val to Ontario, you know, we ask a lot of questions, some of them rather silly, but, you know, it made us think. Neither one of us told the other how to think. We just spurred one another on. So I think it's going to be great having all the experience, like you said, Lisa, on our, you know, Roberta, the people who have gone before us. We can always go to them.
Well, and I think too, being a good listener, I know that Jenny and Ann realize that a lot of times I'm listening.
Yes.
but I think a mentor has to be a good listener too.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, only asking a question that causes someone to think, but you're listening to the response that they were giving.
Right. Yeah.
Really, that makes the relationship all the more strong between whether you think of it as mentor, mentee, or colleagues or sisters in Alpha Delta Kappa. It's that relationship that we're building with each other through listening, through being supportive, through solving problems sometimes that are tricky. But, you know, really having the best interests of the organization and each other at the heart of all those conversations, that's how we support each other and build the greater good. You know, that's what we're all after too.
Yeah. That anonymous person was pretty wise.
Yes, yes.
Yes, they were.
Didn't want to take credit for it, but they were wise.
Exactly. They didn't want to take credit for it.
The other thing I think of about working with a mentor is what a great networking opportunity that is for both people, or if it's teams mentoring each other. That's what I think of about. I look at you ladies who are a little bit more experienced on this regional team than I am. And I'm thinking the great mentorship you will provide to me and to our states and provinces as we move into this next biennium, a great influence for each other.
Well, thank you, ladies, for sharing your thoughts with us this evening. And what an amazing evening. We've heard so many inspiring thoughts from the leadership teams from all our regions. So thank you all for your sharing your thoughts and ideas this evening. And now I am happy to turn the meeting back to our international president, Conway Blankenship.
Thank you, Roberta. Wow. Has tonight not been a wonderful experience? I bet women across our regions, all 7 regions, are smiling broadly just as I am. These 23 regional leaders offered for their positions or were appointed. They are unopposed, and therefore there is no need for a ballot. They are elected by acclamation. Congratulations to each and best wishes for a successful biennium. As we conclude this Zoom session tonight, please join me in thanking these regional leaders and International Executive Board members for their willingness to spotlight leaders in this new format. Tonight's session was recorded and will be made available on Connect in the all-member community. Thank you to each of you that were able to join us tonight and to hear these women respond to their leadership quotes firsthand. Thank you also to Phyllis Robinette and our headquarters staff who joined us tonight and did all that fancy stuff behind the scenes. Thank you, everybody.